Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 598. Title of today's lesson is the difference between meanwhile and in the meantime. Okay, somebody wants a screenshot, do it right now. All right, this can be confusing because a lot of students think that these are just interchangeable. They're partially interchangeable, but there's other situations where they cannot be used, interchangeably. Let's continue. Both in the meantime and meanwhile can refer to the time between two events. Now here is where there is crossover. However, only meanwhile can mean something else is happening or occurring at the same time. Meanwhile can also introduce another aspect or situation which is the opposite of the one mentioned before. So here meanwhile is actually used three different ways, and only one of them is where there is crossover. In the meanwhile can often be used in the same way. So you can say meanwhile or in the meanwhile. You'll hear both. Meantime is rarely used by itself. It is most often used in the phrase in the meantime, and less frequently for the meantime, but you may possibly hear that. All right, let's continue. In the meantime focuses on the gap or the space between these two events occurring. Between the two time periods, okay? And meanwhile focuses on that there's two different actions happening at the same time. All right. So here's our first example where there is crossover. We arrived 30 minutes too early. Why don't we go to 7-Eleven in the meantime to get some coffee to kill some time? Yeah. So in the time between right now and when we're directly supposed to meet them, let's go to 7-Eleven. So the focus is in that time period. Before you actually have to meet those other people, which is 30 minutes from now. All right, so we could say we arrived 30 minutes too early. Meanwhile, or in the meanwhile, let's go to 7-Eleven and have a coffee to kill time. Yeah, so you could say that too. So in this case, both could be used, and they are interchangeable when they're referring to the focus is on the period of time between these two events. Let's continue. Number two, a pedestrian was walking down the street. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the pedestrian, someone accidentally knocked a flower pot off their balcony, which fell and hit the pedestrian in the head. Now, technically, these were two different events. One pedestrian walking down the street, this other person's up in the apartment, he knocks a flower pot down, and so these are two different events happening at the same time. Now, they actually come together, but still, they were two different events happening at the same time. So the focus is on the two different events. It's not on the period in between. So in this case, you should only be using meanwhile, not in the meantime. All right, let's continue. The third one, all right, this state was enforcing stricter COVID restrictions. Meanwhile, this other state is lifting and getting rid of all restrictions. All right, this is the one where it's the opposite. So meanwhile can also introduce another aspect or situation which is opposite to the one mentioned before. So at the same time one state is getting stricter with COVID, the other state is letting everything go. No masks, no social distancing, go completely back to normal. So meanwhile, this is, again, you're introducing the total opposite situation. So meanwhile can be used that way as well. And in the meantime is not used that way. Let's continue. All right, number four. She put the milk in the fridge. Meanwhile, her husband was napping in the living room. Now the first one, I guess you could say that's okay because these are two different events that are happening at the same time. She put the milk in the fridge. In the meantime, her husband was napping in the living room. All right, now, down here, we're showing why this would actually be awkward. In the meantime would be awkward in this example because it would suggest her husband was able to finish his nap in just a few seconds that it takes to put the milk in the fridge. And even though a nap is short, it is a short sleep, but it's not that short. It's probably at least more like 10, 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't happen just as you're putting the milk away. And if you used in the meantime here, that's what that would kind of suggest. So this is another one that you could be careful of. Okay, I hope you got it. I hope now you can clearly see when the crossover is okay, when you can use them like interchangeably, and when you're probably just more likely to use meanwhile and not in the meantime. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it was clear. I hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.